Good night and welcome to Mindful Life 323, the first Mindful Life for this year 2024. It is the second day of the first month in the year of our Lord 2024. Welcome here. I am your host Nathan Springer. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that like button, double tap the screen over there on TikTok if you're wondering how to hit the like button. And let's jump into the discussion. We are talking about age. And the age of some of our leaders, the fact that, it's this kind of septuagenarian gentocracy that we have going on here. Yes, Trini Hotep. This septuagenarian gentocracy business we have going on here. Oldness. And, I was saying that, 40 is old. But 40 isn't old. I'll be fair. 40 isn't old. I'll say it's squarely in middle age. By no means is 40 young. And I have a theory that in modern times we are hijacking youth and spreading it, we're stretching it longer than it's supposed to be stretched. 40 was middle age because you were supposed to be middle way through the important things of life. But if at 40 you haven't even had a family, I could understand why you would want that to be young. And something interesting when I look even at pop culture, you look at it and the pop culture keeps selling us this too, that in shows these days, I remember chick flicks from the 90s and 80s, they show you people getting together. It was a kind of young people business. It's a special show to show you old people getting together at another time. But by and large, a chick flick is too late teens, early 20s, probably a coming of age, in fact. Now, romance in the 40s, first romances, and if you're 40, more power to you, and I'm not saying don't find a nice person in the 40s and all of that, but it's just something interesting. It's something interesting, and you watch, to some extent, even like the celebrities are being dragged out. Where are the new celebrities popping up for the youth? Like, young girls are still listening Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is for the millennials. Person. Anyway, that's just my old person's rant. Today, we aren't even talking directly about age. I have a nice episode to record about that age thing. Of course. Today, we're talking about the fickleness of life. Because the heavy roller over in Tobago, Mr. Ho Choi Charles, has passed on, and also the silver fox here in Trinidad has passed. 90 years of age. And I think, that's more how it should be done. Like, I don't like the idea of us forcing retirees into positions of leadership. Like, picture what the leader of a country was historically, what they were supposed to do throughout history. In certain times in history, they were supposed to be able to jump on the horse and literally ride out in front. Like if Barbados playing around with the fish, they're supposed to be able to lead the charge. These people, Biden for sure. And it's what it's nearly like with putting an old person, like a Gary. Now I don't know if that specific person, but like that person, sir, like that person. Maybe not exactly that person, but like that person. Good evening, Richard Glubman. Something that I don't like with that era, when you put these old people, it becomes nearly like putting the children into politics. When you have a child and they're discussing political issues and different ideologies, and even if they're wrong, because they're a child, it's kind of weird for a commentator to come and insult them, like when they had Greta Thunberg making the wrongs out there. And homegirl is underage and slightly handicapped. There's an R word that they would have called her in the 90s that is very unbecoming now. But she's out there talking about climate change and trying to make global global policy statements around the world. And if she's wrong, now are you to tell everyone that this girl is insane and wrong because she's an underage person that is differently abled? And I find there's some of that even in the old people thing too. Like Uncle Joe, he doesn't see, like if you go to a debate and you're debating and you have Uncle Joe on the next side, you can't really debate that, man. People will be like, oh gosh, it's wickedness. Loudy uncle, loudy old man now, boy. Oh gosh, how you old man that? But this old man is to make decisions for the for the strongest country in the world. Insanity. Insanity. I rate I rate the silver fox. Because I remember there was once a time that he spoke about going out with his boots on. And to be honest, I think I'm not sure him leaving was totally of his own volition. If he had a say in the matter, he may have still been there. But the fact that after he left, it seemed like he was able to commence that other side of his life and, you know, live your life, bro. Ratings to that, man. Ratings to that. Get the man his state funeral, fly the flag at half-mast, all that good stuff. Ratings to that. Same to Uncle Ho Choi. You know, he was one man I looked forward to hearing from him on Tobago issues. A knowledgeable person, someone who's coming to, you know, when he's coming on a issues based something, trying to quote a bit of law or something and teach someone something. I mean, good stuff. Good people to have in the public eye. But along with them passing, the man was outside in his yard playing with the grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Happy New Year, Joel Chow! Wide leather, lull. That's life for me though in a Trini Hotep. That's life for me. I reached 90 and could be in my yard playing with children and grandchildren. What more can a man ask for? But yeah, not only do we have those deaths of people reaching full age, not only we have that, we had several deaths in the country recently, or shootings, where young ladies died. One case was alongside her boyfriend. Another case was the boyfriend escaped, at least temporarily. As far as I know, he's still in critical condition. Cement money piling up because that tree looking healthy. Yeah, Joel Chow, I know you were here in the previous years to know that all the trees were not always healthy looking, you know. We had some trees sometimes that, you know, was a bit lacking, but so it goes, progress, onward and upward. But yeah, boy, Trini Hotep, multiple young ladies. One young lady, I believe, down in my region in Central. What was that? Would that have been Christmas? Yes, Karapichaima, Waterloo region. Was that Christmas or Boxing Day? All years. Morning. Police ran into their home. Allegedly, the boyfriend was lying down in his bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and pulled a gun on the police. Allegedly. And the police shot him and the girlfriend. Wonderful night, Cheryl Valley. Good night to you too. Police shot him and the girlfriend. Now, for people in the know around the region that knew the guy would have known that there's a reputation and etc. She had a gun too. No, true ninja. What the police said is the man had a gun, they shot him, and she was caught, I believe, in the crossfire. But actions have consequences. Allegedly, they were responding to a shooting incident involving this person. And this person was a person well known. This was a person well known to the authorities. And it was a person, allegedly, whom the authorities issued warnings slash threats to already. And I don't know how many of you live in communities where there's some different kind of action occasionally. But police warning troublemakers is a known thing. Police warn some of these people, tell them if we catch you again, if we catch you again, if we catch you again. The allegations that things like that were afoot. And the warnings weren't heeded. And well, it so happened that the police stumbled upon him in his bed, 3 o'clock in the morning, pulling a gun for them, while cuddled with his girlfriend. But that's that girlfriend. Be whatever the case may be, the girlfriend is dead. Another young lady on the avenue right after a party, probably the main junction of the avenue, the busiest junction of the avenue. It seems like the killers went for the boyfriend. She was included. Dead. And something that's kind of disgusting to me about modern life is how your death these days is a spectacle if it happens in a certain manner. You can't just die in peace, even in violence, but you can't just die. Now, the entire country is seeing your body sprawled out in a car seat within half an hour of your pulse stopping. That's beside the cruelty of the death. That's... just before you jump in there, Trini Hotep, something that struck me with two of those shootings, not with the girlfriends, with the attempted assassination of the Trinidad artist. And I've seen some people on Instagram attempt to link different things, but there's no evidence of that. But the attempted assassination of the Trinidad artist, which ended up being a quadruple murder, and then the murder of this young lady and the shooting of her boyfriend. Someone needs to explain to me from the police service how someone gets away with a shooting on the main artery of this country, the main highway of this country, that connects our main international airport with our capital city. December 27. Basically, right after high noon, on the main highway, they do the shooting. I'm looking at the video. These fellas, now I am assuming here, I don't know. These fellas look like they had to have some kind of clearance. Because if I was shooting someone on the highway, I was shooting them and driving off as fast as I can without ever jumping out the car. Because police are basically every mile on the highway you might stumble across a police vehicle. But these fellas shoot them, jump out the car, chase them into a village, and then casually jog back to their vehicle waiting for them on the highway and proceed to drive down to Port of Spain and environs. How does that happen? With no police at all being able to stop them? And then this lady, I am not the biggest Lima boy out there, but I have been on the avenue before. The avenue recently especially has been crawling with police. You can't sneeze in the wrong direction without sneezing on an officer. And the avenue is often packed and sticky. You finish Lime on the avenue, you reach to your vehicle, and sometimes it's 10 minutes before you leave the avenue itself. Someone is able to shoot up a vehicle on Carlos and Ariapita Junction and escape without even a shootout with the police. You go ahead, Trini Hotep.
see that for sure. There are people having thing. Man, so I realize that criminals in that way. So could catch bullets in the middle. Yeah, I've seen it happen. So that's not new. That's not anything really shocking. See, what I find shocking is what you really said is that people will take an issue to what people had to comment and say this is people saying that we seen a woman promote in a car dead. Video come from people take more issue. I see a woman on TikTok the fact that this page spelling she take she really the woman. You see that? So I don't know at this point it's a tragedy, but it is a but yeah.
Yeah, nah. I do not hold that as a positive thing. And to me, I put some of the blame for that. I mean, it's just the progress of time, I guess, also. But some of the blame for that I put squarely at the fancy designer glasses of a certain criminal watchman. He he was the pioneer of showing the country blood and gore and recently dead bodies, to me, as far as I could remember. And it has become a very, very normal thing, and I don't think that should be a normal to me. I don't find that something that should be just a regular thing that you wake up on a morning and see somebody's bloody body just in front of your eyes. I don't see that as a positive. And leaning back to what we were starting speaking about with even the relationship side of it, the the song that I can't remember which one of the artists sing it, but she like bad man. It's a fact. I find it interesting. Nearly all bad men have girlfriends, you know. What is your view on the financial situation of the country next 5 years? What a wide-ranging special question. I'm not sure how to answer that in a short period. Yeah. All of these men have girlfriends and children. And you know, when you look at it, a lot of the children, if it's a bad man who is at a certain level, their children often live good, you know. But you know what's the unfortunate thing? When they die, that's that. I've seen it. Bad man up there. You're living nice, you're driving nice, you're liming nice, the children blinging. But when bad man get killed, bad man doesn't have a bank account that goes to your name. Bad man doesn't have an LLC that now transfers over to the children. Bad man didn't have an insurance plan. The car that bad man driving wasn't even in his name. The goal that bad man had, his brethren done take that. And what you going to do? Take it back from the brethren? When bad man dead, not a cent left for family. So every bad man that dies very likely is leaving a group of children, not only with a dead father, but in some level of relative poverty, as in particular compared to what they would have had before. So if you're a young lady looking for the stability and niceness of children in, you know, resources, passing, power, connections, they die, you know. Kolabab says, what I've seen is the woman goes into survival mode and gets with his successor. Fact. And that's why you see sometimes, and this is it's kind of a joke, but then it's not a joke at the same time, some women with 4 rest in peace tattoos. Like, how many people are you that close with males that you need to tattoo them dying on your skin.
I've seen that. I've seen that personally. I find that at the woman and I see she basing, she living. Okay, right. I understand. Thing is, these men, you know, these men be girlfriend. Girlfriend not only I want to girlfriends all done up and all that thing.
But then if I up D, me want no basic gal.
So of course, I don't want to say what you think about it is this is 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 rather because it's funny. This whole Christmas period, me and my best friend and the lab and the topic come up about being with a certain type of man, the criminal element man. And friend asked me, so when you think about catching bullet for gunman? I was like, listen, if you want to take back this too, I say that. I say it's had a come too because I've seen it. I used to live the amount of women who was to come hill and they like to enter the because they like the man swag and the man two ring the hand, you know what I'm saying? You know them strong ring, them like that, like the little Jordan look a little fresh.
They only taking picture with the man hiding his face. You see it, you know. I have listen. I have some girls on my friend list that you see it. You see it. They've taken picture and the man face when he hide. The man like this so. With all the gold and the chain and thing. And they hug him up and he so. Lean up on the range, lean up on the Tucson, you know, that kind of thing. They like that play. And you see, the truth is, you could probably do that, get a nice little SUV out of it, start a little store, and make your hustle, and maybe you might live with your children after that. That might be the possibility. Or you might be a pretty corpse. Either way.
But I really think is right. The girl didn't even see 21. So she even get a chance to make her get attractive. She was 19 and the man was 30. I say if he's at things that could 19, 30-year old cat because he knows shots coming at him. I don't tell the cat to sprawl out. I just be now. But the thing for me is that listen, if you like only play and everything glitter for you, understand then come something. He can't sleep well. I mean, he can't sleep well. That is how you understand what I'm saying? It's like these women think that some sort of security and stability coming to being think has some type of way. And the power does be hallucinated and the power don't even be a stable power. Like you could say, you know, like how the Prime Minister have power and he power kinda there. And then you can recognize that it's stable enough. The men power not even that stable. Ever in flux.
Yeah, it is.
It can fluctuate.
But
you know what I'm saying?
But it's still there. And if you look at it from being inside of their are they trying to rationalize animal love? Thank you, Kwame. If you look at it from inside of a certain perspective, if you are inside a certain bubble and you allow yourself to see yourself as inside this bubble, inside this world, those are the most powerful men. And you know, come to think about it, in Trinidad and Tobago, as we currently stand, gangsters are legitimately a powerful group of people. The police have to go discuss treaties with these men, apparently. Apparently the treaty didn't work. But That was the talk. So if we're living in a country where there's a large amount of criminal activity going on in the underworld, these men would legitimately have power. And in nearly every single realm, power attracts. The power is in flux, yes, but it is legitimate power for the moment it lasts. Yeah, I was in that bubble for a little while. You just get lost in that world. Yeah, it's. I use this. Just by the way, it's a good time to input this. This is brought to you by Mindful Education, the educational institution that I run. We offer learning pods. Learning pods are small, more personal style homeschool style setting classes in person for students starting from learning stages, preschool all the way up to CXE. If you're interested, hit us up. And in teaching, one of the ideas that I like to talk about and deal with is the idea of the water that the fish swims in. The fish isn't aware of the water that they're swimming in. And if you surround someone with a certain kind of culture, a certain kind of belief, a certain kind of thought process, when they get to a certain level, they don't see it as this being an option and this being an option. It's just what you do. Because that's what they grow up seeing as it just being what you do. Now, if you grow up in, and this is part of the problem with the police allowing some of these criminal gangs and criminal elements to fester. You're allowing generations to grow up with this being the water that they swim in. Good night, Florence. If you look at this, what was this guy's name? Rebel 6. Rebel 6 started singing how long ago? That would have been about 6 years ago. Maybe 6, 7. That's enough. If you're 30 and over, sometimes those 6, 7 year time periods, you don't see it for what it is. But that's a significant time period. Someone who is 16, their entire adolescence could have been bathed in Trinidad music. Their culture from the time they were basically 8 all the way up to 16, a young adult, young man, is just surrounded in this. It's just surrounded in this. And that's enough time for that to really set in there. These young men singing Trinidad now grew up on Trinidad. You might be thinking Trinidad music is a new music, but enough time has passed for there to be a generation of young men that grew up on Trinidad. And young women, just by the way, not only young men, young women, because isn't it a going trend in the schools to throw up gang signs now?
Yeah, that's correct.
It's a going trend. It's a going trend.
Let's see. Trinidad they come up some 2017. I believe it's like 2017. Prince Wani and the rest of them, I'm addicted into this whole dancehall being the very genre and trying to be as is right it had. So 2017 to 2024, yeah, I think it has become such a boom. Even people in my age group, which I would want to believe, no, I'm being honest about, because Trinidad music as a genre, soul in Trinidad isn't old, 10+ years old. Isn't that old? You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is the boom dancehall music within Trinidad and Tobago has become is insane because people in my age group, I know they didn't grow in pure Trinidad music, right? That's all I know. this music? Why is there the hell going on? I I be going to play football to sing is a key man. And
Yep.
I'd be like, and all the right guys all they know. I don't even think they know how cartoon and that. Started. I even think they wouldn't know about cartoon. See a dance all artists. They don't even know cartoon. So it has become such a conglomeration at this point that yeah, that's it. I listen to men playing football. Gang affiliation better, song better because I gang affiliation. And I'm like, football, it kind of slow. Yeah, slowness of the is it a frontal lobe, cloud lyrics, to be telling, destroying the stem. So I be confused that the fact that this music has become such an influential force within the country in such a short space of time.
I made a comment. Someone was talking something about Trinidad on Facebook, and I made a comment on it. Trinidad isn't about the music; it's a window into a subculture. So, like, and if you listen to the Trinidad, I am a musician. I play music. I have recorded music. I have played music for recording. You listen to the music of Trinidad, and it's no critically acclaimed music. These guys aren't going to win any songwriting special trophies or any special trophies for best production and that kind of stuff. Generally speaking, it's not about the music. And that's exactly why it became popular. Because what it is, and you look at the videos and you see that the videos are attempting to give you a window into a subculture. And the subculture existed before the Trinidad. The subculture, in and of itself, is exclusive of the Trinidad music. As it stands right now, it's mostly one gang making a lot of the music. It's not even all of the gangs making music. There are many non-musical gangs that are still doing crime. The subculture of gang culture, that's jumpy. The subculture, gang culture in Trinidad and Tobago existed for a while now. And people have always been interested in gang culture. This is very similar to the booming of the, what you call that music, the trap, what is the drill music, like from England, English rap that went to England, drill music came back to the US, and in the 20 teens between New York and Chicago in the US, the same thing that is happening in Trinidad happened there. A lot of their drill gangster rappers were murdered. A lot of them. King Von, LLKV, the same culture that they're using right now in the 6 and 7, long live this one, LL with a little other thing, long live that one, even the name, the ABG, anybody get it, and all of those, literally taken wholesale from the gang and music culture of the drill scene in the US. And we're getting the same consequences down here. And over there, it was the same thing. You look on YouTube and you see a lot of rich white people obsessing over the gang affiliations and what happened to this one and when this one got away and this one had a close. It's a sneak peek into a subculture. It's nearly like reality TV. It's nearly like reality TV. I could watch these guys living on the edge of life, getting away from shots. Listen, K-Man lived. I could assure you the next song he releases is going to be a hit. He could sing anything he wants. I want to know what the next song he's going to release is going to be. Not so? It's entertaining.
I listened to one person talk and it was like, you see how K-Man escaped from a sort of like curiously through other people.
Correct.
It's like nobody want people to be affiliated with gang and gang warfare and that. So they live through this music, whatever, and like it or not, because I stayed through playing top black to be entertained. Afro people love to be entertained and to live through entertainment. Like there's the facts, but they can't dispute that. So black people, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, would live vicariously through music. Yeah, African music and that too. Because like it or not, some the era that the environment are wrong. The people never. You understand what I'm saying? So it's entertaining.
You see, culture and fad. One of the things that is preeminent among fads is authenticity. Like somebody is real about this. You don't get much more authentic than a criminal telling you about their crimes and you seeing the consequences of it happening while they tell you about it. That's as authentic as it gets. You go into a museum and you see someone painted a prison scene from their memory, from their imagination. That's one thing. But someone painted a prison scene with their blood from the lashes of when they were behind the prison walls. That's going to grip you. The authenticity of it. And that is what this offers. So someone says art imitates life and life imitates art. Yes. And what came first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken obviously came first here. The gangs came before the music. The gangs were in here since Mark Guerra and those days in the early 2000s. We spoke about that in a live before. The gangs were here before anyone was singing about them. What were the two gangs that Eric Williams met with? Boy, oh gosh, boy. The Maribunta and I forget the next one. But since the 60s, gangs doing what they're doing in East Port of Spain. So they were here before the music. At one point in time, there was gang warfare in the pan. They were here before the music. So the music isn't what created the problem. What is the root? I saw Krimak asks. I don't know totally how to answer that. The root is human nature and the fallen state of the human soul, I guess, if you want to talk about that. But in the societal systemic side, we speak about this regularly. You may not like my answer, but I think the root of that starts with policing and leadership in policing. To me, that's where a lot of that starts. Because I don't think these boys would be able to, through school lessons or me saying on the Mindful Live, you know, well, you shouldn't join gangs, you know. Don't join gangs, you know, and Rowley on the podium, don't join gangs, you know. And the gang literally rules their community. I don't think that you'd be able to get them away from the gang like that. You have to be able to stop the gang from having the exertion of power inside the community. I saw Kola Babs a while ago over there on Instagram said we have to look at the causes, the demographics, poverty and criminality, etc., etc. And I regularly talk about the way I feel that it's not just that poverty breeds crime, really. It's crime breeds poverty. And then poverty decreases opportunities, making it easier for people to fall into lives of crime. So when you have these communities where these gangsters and criminals run the community, how are you going to get these young men free from that? I was reading a story, and I mean, you have to take the mother's word for it, but a murder victim out there in Lavantil over the new year here. Let me see if I could pull that up. Yeah, murder victim's mother. He was killed for not joining a gang. Adundi Stems Telemac brought in the new year by lighting fireworks, drinking, and spending quality time with his mother, girlfriend, and 2 children. He planned on visiting the US later this year with his children, but New Year's morning, he was shot and killed. Deborah Williams, Telemac's mother, fought back tears as she spoke with Newsday on Tuesday at the Forensic Center. In 22, they first shot him in the hip, and then last year they shot him in his arm. Every time they shot him, he drove himself to the hospital. And she said all of that was because he didn't want to join a gang. The latest thing was that he had to pay them $1,000 every time he got paid. He told them no, he was building a house. He had his 14-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter to take care of. He lived for those children. Williams said her son had made several reports to the police about his life being at risk, but nothing ever came of it. She called him a peacemaker in the community. Now, I wouldn't say that this mother's word is law. I don't know that. And we know that on occasion, mothers could speak more fondly of their offspring than reality would bear out to be factual. But the information she outlined there isn't an impossible situation. Because it's not the first time we've heard things like that. The contractor that was murdered in Maloney. The story was he got the contract and was told by people behind prison walls how much he had to pay to them, and he said no. And he was murdered for it. So, how do we get people in those communities to not lean into the life of crime if they cannot escape it? And that's why I say the root of this starts with policing. Crimac, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying get them. We spoke about that one already. The idea of further enriching these gangs. We went through an entire live speaking about this, going through the history of it, showing that the government, every time they decide to give the gang URP contracts, give them URP administrative positions, give them directorship in some government state thing, it never works. It just emboldens and empowers the gang. I agree. And it makes policing nearly impossible. I agree also. I am not saying police. If you heard what I said policing. Policing. And the policing isn't only on the individual police, it's on the policy of the, it's exactly, Nelly, on the policy of the politicians overall, on the policy of the commissioner, on the leadership of the ACPs and all of them. I would like that too, Crimac. I would really like that. I would love that. So that's why I say it's in policing. You look at these communities, and an encouraging word isn't going to do it. If my reality is inescapably criminal, no amount of encouraging words would help me escape that reality. And there are many children that grow up on blocks. And if you do not know this, or you have never interacted with anyone like that, just know you're living in a significant bubble. There are a large number of children in Trinidad and Tobago that grow up on drug blocks. They grow up seeing mommy and daddy and uncle selling right there, seeing the gun, touching a gun, running for the package, bringing the package there. Many communities, many children live like that.
Seen it. I've lived in those communities, and as I'm saying, That's insane. It's like Sealands having its own state, its own quasi state, its own president.
You're putting name drops there?
Just call it particular. So it is thing to know why Sealands there. Sealands do that's how it goes. But the thing about I said, right? And stories anyway, stories of talking about police and policing, and police don't want to either handle the situation because they know what comes with that situation. Then you have the plot control.
You know, just now there, Trini Hotep, as Kremak here, you're the ideal person. I know you're familiar with policing in Trinidad and Tobago and stuff. Could you answer me? How is it possible for a shooting to occur on Prime Holiday Day, the 27th of December, between our international airport and our capital, the main artery of the country? A shooting to occur there, the guys to shoot be comfortable enough to jump out of their vehicles and chase people down in a community, get back in the vehicle, and reach the areas of Port of Spain with no police detection? How is that possible, bro? And the next one on Carlos Junction, Carlos and Aria Peter Junction. Oh, the police does wind down year end. I see. All right. Sounds like it to me.
That criminal in sense because to me, think about sin is sure police are human, but we talking about spend we talking about sin law in our country, right? So talking about the traffic and the road. I went up and block up is to do a just to check horn insurance. No license to stop everybody. So you stand up there to check. Okay, fine, that's part of policing, but enforcement. So part of policing, investigation, all of so part of policing, right? So you writing down for what? Job is a job that entails that you don't want for nothing, especially when the crime is a big thing about 4%. It's not satisfactory. Percent that predict statement. You have the percent because you think it's still not satisfactory. You're supposed to say they're not the service of Trinidad and Tobago. So we're supposed to uphold the standard. This wind down for the year. What is that? Heard such things. I've never supposed to
policing the community, working with the police. You're right, nearly 39, 100% for policing to work, the community must work with the police. But in Trinidad and Tobago, there is a significant lack of trust between the police and the people. And I would say that the police are not doing an adequate job of trying to rectify that. For one, the police main public face is a big strong guy who is allergic to saying when the police are obviously wrong. You could bring in person, first person video 3 witnesses, and he is going to obfuscate and gymnastics and flip backward. The police never wrong. How are you going to build the trust with the people? I was replying to the guy who said that. I don't believe that police wind down at December either. I believe that the criminal elements ramp up. It seems like, yes, now I've noticed this. It seems like criminal elements have in their mind certain people mustn't make it into the new year, so they up their effort at the end of the year. I see. So now I don't know anything about winding down. My question and comment. My question and comment. I know you were kidding, Richard. Was to do with what seems to me impossible. If I get in a fender bender and I break my headlight at the St. Augustine traffic lights and I trying to reach Port of Spain to buy a new headlight, I might get a ticket for a faulty headlight before I reach Port of Spain. But you trying to tell me I could murder 4 people midday in 2 cars and get away? Come now, man.
Police, see, son, you must pay $1,000 ticket for sticker. The nation's the infrastructure is poor. Could run poor in the middle, spray up. Yes, every day. Listen, that I don't understand. As we speak.
And you know, like to me, I understand getting police to say certain things in public is one thing because many police would admit to it in private. To me, something like this very often, because the police understand how policing works, they understand very well that certain things are very likely someone made a hole, someone made a track for the Gucci to run, and the Gucci ran. Police know that better than us. They understand policing. They're not as dunce as some people try to say. Police know, and the honest police know too. They know. Good night, Krimi. Mm.
First thing first, when I see that December.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yeah.
School out.
Yes.
So the public servants taking vacation around that time shopping and these things. Things were clear.
They weren't that clear. I was on the road at the time. It wasn't that clear.
Yeah, but understand when they found the vehicles.
I can't remember which road it was abandoned where. On.
St. Joseph Road.
Right.
That take you any part of Trinidad. To get on that vehicles to jump in the next vehicle. One technology, cameras, real-time cameras, the track vehicles. This road here is when still 5 minutes you can reach. So people need to be realistic. Still, age where the big criminals. See, I don't want to so truth. Take the ball. So sorry. Said because somebody say, shoot it here. Take an command set. You can't know what is there. Do not think we don't send people from the persons that see I see what this is. So when they go two streets on the road, anybody see more see 2 people speeding, girls speeding. They can see when they swing off the road, swing off by UE, can't say anything because disconnected. The Genesis to reach. They see no vehicles, the license plate to the kinds of stairs. Just check them, do a drag net.
Mm-hmm.
The people that's this talk. Speaking this guy, like, there's plenty intricacies in it. People just miss and don't understand.
I got you.
So simple as like this coming out. This going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to say run a white vehicle, a black, a green vehicle? So no. So people be speaking like this is this aberration. They're talking from a place of ignorance.
Now, I understand totally what you're saying there, and I like that idea that there are more complex issues around, and sometimes when you talk with simplicity, you don't understand. I agree. I agree. However, I still think there are questions. I still think there are questions. Now, we're talking about the specific situation of that shooting. The shooting itself took a certain period of time. There are no police because these guys are speeding. There are no police at any point on the main roads from Curep to St. Joseph.
Yeah. Sorry. That speaks about where is. This is Parker. I'm gonna tell you.
Everybody, I think.
So then you know, tell you tell the people in them. Yeah. Detection.
No. What the police doing are being foolish by setting up massive roadblocks in a traffic-filled country. What you are going to do is create an incentive for people to escape the traffic. You need to think. You need to think. A roadblock isn't what you do. That's what it's proving. And if you continue doing the roadblock, that is obviously counterproductive, literally counter to our production in the country, then you aren't thinking. It's not the people's fault that you aren't thinking as the police. Right. And that what I'm speaking about isn't a roadblock. What I'm speaking about, what I know here you're going a little low there, Kermac.
You were speaking about was able to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing notifications on these public and the media. That's when the thing they don't network, they don't on St. Joseph Road. They did able and the street pass here. Did another St. Joseph thing.
All right. Okay. Well, I could take your word for it. But for me, it sounds scary that in our country, be it a holiday time, you could do a quadruple murder. Take 5 minutes doing a quadruple murder on the highway. Drive off the highway to St. Joseph, switch cars, and escape. And you're telling me that you do this with zero involvement of the law enforcement on your side. You're just skillful and lucky enough. Okay, if that's what you're telling me Trinidad is, Trinidad is scary. I would have thought that in a country like ours, with the kind of traffic situation we have, with the amount of, what you call those police when they're static officers in different places and stuff, I would have thought that's basically impossible, but I guess it's not. That's news to me. Waze does tell you where police is. Richard Gloveman, Waze not accurate with that at all. Waze is tell you where police was.
2020. I love how people just talk about Trinidad to being another it's not but no function and how she's supposed to operate. You know, the gang's supposed to be establishment that have more resources and funds. Basically, it's kind of ridiculous where at this point see Nigeria so we're so effective resources and they lack technology and equipment when try to do proper because you telling me a defeatist mindset of the criminal is more effective than you, then the criminal he run the show in Trinidad. He my name is Banana. If I name is over 80.
Barbecue.
Too because basically me state because and I who run democracy. Which one?
And you know, Trini, I remember saying this, for example, when the previous commissioner, not the lady right now, the previous one was saying repeatedly that basically they're trying their best, they're doing their best. Sometimes it seems like the police don't understand how scary that sounds. If you're doing your best and your best is quadruple murders on the highway, then your best is obviously rubbish. Because that's not normal in a society. A normal high functioning society, you're not supposed to be able to escape with a quadruple murder on the highway. Those things are not supposed to happen in a normal functioning society. So if you tell me as the police of my supposedly functioning society that you're doing your best, and that's your best, that the gangs could weave their way through the main arteries in Curep. Listen, to reach St. Joseph from St. Augustine on the highway, you have to pass through Curep, you know. Anybody else are drivers here? These guys must have blue lights and sirens. How are you doing this? And you're telling me there is zero law enforcement involvement. These guys just know the back roads so well. They have a WhatsApp group chat that is always on the go with their sentries at different points. That's what you're telling me. Okay. And I think officers, our police service doesn't understand by breaking the blame of bad elements, you actually make the entire service seem incompetent. Instead of it being that very likely it seems like there may have been some kind of something afoot, it's that the police are just incapable of stopping such things. Is that a better option to you? That we have all honest officers, they are just incompetent, versus we know that we have some corrupt officers, and that's a large part of the problem. Which one makes more sense to admit?
Okay, thing is, I've seen around these vehicles, literally. I've seen it. From going from Wood to Shogun Samba, I've seen around police vehicles. Okay, fine. Police is trying their best to fight crime. I don't for trying their best to fight. I see from the people who serve, claim to serve, start asking you questions, but are you ineffective? Because at this point, even my best friend is asking questions of his own batch and service members about what go.
Hotep, I talked a good bit of, judging by how much I criticize police, you might think like I don't have any police friends. Or I talked to a lot of police and officers on the one-on-one. They let you know somebody made a hole. Somebody made a lane. Yeah, Trini looking for you here in New Bridge. Yeah, pause there. Pause. Bridge was talking first. Let Bridge go ahead and then you talk. Trini looking for you. Mm-hmm. Grab a charger.
Management, the changing system. service, a margy service. Yeah.
I hear that.
Let be Trinidad to be well. Trinidad. So I'm mentioning people to go any system of function. System of right. He tried to solve it just to any management perspective. So to be perspective, you need to bring somebody side to it. Of management that he talking about side. Just promoting people and letting them try as you stay to it. You follow that situation where
You know what you saying there? I have said that many times. I have said that. I have said similar to what you saying there. I have said similar to what you're saying there a few times. That one of my problems I have with the police is you see the batch thing, and it seems like batch, friend, just go all the way up, and when you have that reaching all to the top, they can't make any decisions because everyone is your batch. I think, and I've said this many times, I think a lot of what the police need is an outside manager to manage them like a serious institution with no loyalty to the members. Wait, bridge. What's the first word you say there? People who could what?
statistics are actually problem. So you have a problem, you have to solve a problem. You have to do a certain amount of management. You got to be able to create something.
Correct.
Right? The UNC tried when they brought those two guys from Canada. Ski and game so well.
Yep.
Because they tried to manage anybody. So
All right.
you know, so even some most times again to what
I agree.
is not for example, and I said, but somebody said on TV show, something. So what spend on
Yep.
solution to land
Yep.
management.
Trini looking for you. You were going to say something, Trini looking for you? Mm-hmm.
Service to self sense. Traditional selected sense. Should not have fly over Europe could end up some part. So them started to think like they would understand what I say.
Yeah, there's still highway patrol.
So back team, so you turn up for the team shooting at Fickleness crib, chance like so you see what you're saying? So look, really, constant, the sensitive topic. Just before challenge to the minister certain items in the country, pass it through security checks, show them the still lost them, show them they tell them I instantly collect citizen destroyed again, show them community in
I remember in Parliament not too long ago, I would never forget this. I will never forget this. A minister is asking, a senator is asking, why aren't the scanners and the port working? And nobody knows the answer. Nobody. Nobody knows why it's not working. Nobody could say when it's going to be working. Nobody.
scanners. He went and purchased some EVs. Those he had purchased that was about had those need to come here, right? And properly. Jarima showed a lot of security to that. Show and strategy that I stated. So what you need to secure is T. You purchase your business. So they cancel the purchase of saying the limit of excellence.
Here's the thing with that also. I agree. OPVs would have helped, certainly. But I think we are already past OPVs because according to what they are saying now, they have done investigative pieces on this. The majority of the weapons aren't coming in by pirogues on that dangerous waters. These fellas not going through all of that long thing anymore. In a barrel, in a shipping container, stacked properly. Just bring it in. There's a warehouse in my vicinity going down Couva here. Like every other week, they just find a barrel of guns. Happen to find a barrel of guns. They were finding one consistently for a period. People don't read a lot of news, but doing this, I read news every night. Listen, let me finish this story. Let me finish this story. Very interesting stuff. They were finding consistently some guns coming in barrels in a particular warehouse in the Couva Central region. Then a man was murdered in the car park in Price Mart going in the East there, Arima side there. The murder allegedly was done by officers. Allegedly. I know officers don't do anything wrong, but that was the allegation in the news. And the man was a former customs man or something like that. And he allegedly, this was the news, said this. All of this was news in Trinidad and Tobago. He was the informant giving them the information of when the shipments of the guns are coming into the container. Interestingly enough, they were finding guns like every month. They were finding. Since that man was murdered, allegedly by officers, in a same kind of midday thing on that main highway, you know, I guess that was just lucky criminals again. After that man was murdered, all of a sudden they stopped finding those barrels of guns. But they've been saying it a while now. Even if we had the OPVs, that would have been inconsequential. These guys are shipping it in. Remember, the container scanners aren't working. A screw missing from it. A screw that is irreplaceable. A magic screw that no one can find the replacement part for is missing from the scanner. Oh no. Hey!
Excuse. Stop any that business. So again, speaks to
Management.
something. So the statistics and help. That can help. So the statistics every day can help.
I saw someone on Instagram there pointing out that the police officers' salaries are just too small for what we are aiming for. And I am poor. There are different sides to that. For one, I am not of the belief that you pay somebody more and they won't be corrupt. I think if you're a dishonest person, you're a dishonest person. There are judges making millions of dollars and still corrupt. It's not really a matter of salary. That's one. However, 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 I find it strange that the argument for paying judges plenty is the same argument you would make for paying the police plenty too. So maybe it is either you pay the judges less and shut up with that nonsense argument, or you pony up and pay the police a different level. Because that's the reason you say you pay judges plenty, because you need them to be honest to run the justice system. Don't we need the same thing out of the police officers? And this brings into question, to me, it brings into question, and I've said this before, the whole war on drugs on a whole. Because a lot of the criminal activity that we fight now is fighting people from snorting a dust or burning a leaf. And I don't know if that's the best use of all of our resources. Because here's the problem. When drugs are illegal, you're selling this to people who can't help themselves, basically. They're addicted. So the drugs would always reach from producer to consumer. Making it illegal and becoming better at it, all that really does is fluctuate the price. The better you are at stopping drugs, you will just make the price of the drugs that remain more expensive. If you make the price of the drugs that remain more expensive, the bribes become more lucrative. So basically, your police service will keep stopping drugs until they have sent the price up high enough that the drug cartel can pay their bribes. You understand what I'm saying there? It's a natural system that functions in that way. The better your police service is at stopping drugs, the drug price is just going to keep going up. So, okay, Mr. Officer, you won't take a price, you won't take a bribe when we could only afford a $5,000 bribe. Would you take it at $50,000? How about $500,000? I remember listening to an old British commissioner explaining this, and his idea was to decriminalize all drugs because he spent his whole career fighting drugs, and this was the conclusion he came up with. That it was all in futility. The better you were at fighting drugs, you made police work harder. Is that the best way to fight a grass?
Situation we have. In other words, opportunity to do business for the same item. Therefore, so ask
Price goes up. Yeah,
Expect that. Expect that.
violence goes up. Violence goes up. Mm? No, not all is about drugs, no. Yes and no. Yes and no. Because it could start with that being the face reason. But gang warfare isn't really about that. Gang warfare is about gang warfare. And after a while, gang warfare fuels itself. It's self-propelling after a while.
Drugs that you're not. So it is. Yeah, yeah, like when you that time. Not about finish. Same code. Start from 6 in there. Explode. 7.
Well, yeah. That's what I was saying. It's according to what you're talking about. But but basically the business that they're running, at least the basic business is drugs.
Fighting. Split. Pieces. Size. See. As well as I told me that like look. See. There was a size. See how just he made sure arms till 1990. Didn't spike should have to the streets. Here. Okay. Jeremy. Civil.
To me, the root of the problem is nearly inconsequential. It's like those family feuds that have been going on for 400 years, and who knows what the root of the problem is. Kermac,
To 100%. I agree to 100%. Say that you can do something to stop the criminal justice system fail. Have no severity, certainty, swift justice. And
fact.
that is all we lacking in Trinidad today. Typically, see, even in schools, let me start from schools. They typically straight from schools. They never with something. School violence out of control. Have no implications or consequences for your actions. And it's so easy criminal society. So from schools, migrate it to the society. And that is what it is. This police probably court. Somebody can have 19 charges, 40 charges. Still that person eligible.
100%.
Thinking about that.
Crimac, no. Crimac, you've listened to enough of my lives. I have spoken about just now, Bridge. Just now. I have spoken about this one, and that's 100%. I make this point regularly. If you are in one of these communities, you know nearly every pest in a community is out on bail. Nearly everyone. And when you understand that point, what that basically shows you is that the police at one point or the other have gotten their hands on nearly every bad behaving person. But the legal system hasn't brought it to an end. And now, to put yourself in the police position, and I've made this point before, to put yourself in the police position, okay, you have a lowish salary, your salary ain't all that high. You're trying to be honest. When you arrest a man, He goes into the system, makes a day and is back out. Okay, as a police now, should I be honest, make my little $8,000, shut my mouth, and keep arresting the same man over and over and over for him to just pay bail and end up back out? Or might I as well get on with the system and grease my pocket? I wouldn't attack the lawyers because the lawyers doing their job too. The lawyers doing their job too. And true, true. All right. Yes. Yes. No. Yeah, there are several reasons I don't think it could work in Trinidad. One, El Salvador's highest court is inside of El Salvador. So the president could do so and tell the highest court, well, what I say has to happen, and y'all are not going to just let these people go out now. The problem in Trinidad, our highest court is not in Trinidad. Our highest court is the Privy Council. And these lawyers, the moment a prime minister come in power and take God out of his thoughts and start to try to do that, remember, all of the people held in this, well, not all, but a large number of the people held in the state of emergency got money for it. They were paid. And I understand what you say about lawyers. I like to is read the name of some of the lawyers that do certain cases, and you start to see trends. I don't want to get into specific, but you notice trends about names and groups. And so I understand what you're saying in terms of lawyers and their morality, but unless you know specific about something, the lawyer could they could use the excuse that they're just doing their job and everyone deserves a hearing for their case, especially in our country. And maybe it's all part of the system on purpose, but if you have it that you can be on remand for 14 years, then you understand why bail must be accessed, because it's possible that I might be innocent. And you don't want me imprisoned for 14 years only to find out afterwards that I am innocent. So, yeah. Yeah.
So was a service that just as he could target any so who was so guys said for me so that no matter what is corrupt I can
True.
really discipline
I agree. I agree. I always say that money isn't about honesty. Isn't about money. There are poor people who are honest. There are rich people who are dishonest. It's not. Yeah, and so in my blaming of it in this Crimac and other police, I am not saying that it's an exclusive police only fault or all the police. No. I'm saying basically what Trini Hotep is saying there. Police are the arm of the law that touches you. They're the one that reaches you. So okay, you could tell me that the ones behind are failing too, but the one that is touching me is you. And especially when we have the tax collection side of the police. Like I regularly say this. One of the things that the police service could do to increase the trust between the police and the people is, I think, remove that tax collection side from the police. Like, allow some traffic wardens to go and look for people's mirror broken and a slight burst in the traffic. Leave the police out of that. The country, our country as it is too violent for the police to run down smooth tires. I'm sorry. Allow them to skid off the road. Allow the police to be so trustworthy that I could run in knowing that I don't have my inspection sticker, but I don't have to hide from the police because the police aren't looking to take money from me. You talk. Mark was speaking about the WhatsApp groups, and the big strong guy on TV likes to talk about the WhatsApp groups also. But the WhatsApp groups aren't about hiding the criminals, they're about saving people thousands of dollars. Listen, I care about some of my fellow people. I know many people who might have a slight infraction on their car, and the nature of Trinidad and Tobago, you mightn't even know what that infraction might be because the laws are just so cumbersome, so much red tape. A police stops you, it's up to them. They could find something on your brand new vehicle to give you trouble for if they so want to. So of course they're going to make WhatsApp groups to warn each other not to go and have to lose $1,000 on a random Monday morning. Of course that's what's going to happen. I am not doing that to help the number six, the number gang fellas get away from. No, that's irrelevant to me.
exactly and I don't think people understand that people inside those WhatsApp groups and it just happened that some of the people within our WhatsApp group, within our WhatsApp group of that 1,000 people, some of them maybe either criminals or allied. That's just human flaws, right? It's not wrong. So that anything, but anything, right? My friend, I tell him he saw a rap video about say he was parked beside the road. He's coming out behind him. They go to charge him for not wearing a seatbelt. He not in motion. They go to charge him for a seatbelt till he ready for them. So friend, I say, okay, tell me what you're in this video. He say how the laws are. He literally say this. The laws what we read and full interpretation of the laws, right? So there's other fine print to the laws, fine to the law, right? But he said that the police is not yet to interpret laws and tell people the law should operate in terms of how in humans are people, right? So he said it's not police's job to interpret. They are there to enforce it. And my friend was like, basically, police want to use their power, their
Yeah, Bridge. Once the vehicle starts, I believe it is. Once the engine is. But either way, I find that to be a ridiculous law. The seatbelt law should not exist. No seatbelt law should exist. I know it's the law. I understand the seatbelt law exists, but I'm talking should. I think the seatbelt law creates avenues for negatives inside of that. Listen, how are you telling me you're so worried about my safety I must wear a seatbelt inside a car, but police could ride motorbikes? Which would be the more dangerous? If I get in an accident with a motorcycle, or if I get in an accident with a car not wearing a seatbelt? Like, do you really care about my safety? That's not the job of the government to make sure I keep myself safe. That's not the job of the police. The police shouldn't be looking in my car, peering in my car to see if I have on my seatbelt to keep myself safe while my car is stationary. That's ridiculous. That's creating distrust between the police and the people. Don't have the police doing that macocious, annoying job. That is Macome job. To run me down to see if you wearing a seatbelt? You click it good? For what? It's not in the pursuit of anyone else's safety but my own. You are not my daddy. Daddy and mommy could tell me about you eating too much fat. Nathan, I find your belly getting a little big there. You know why you eating? So eating in the night too much, boy, Tanny boy. That is daddy and mommy. If I driving and a police small talking me about my diet, you're fast and out of place. And the law and policies of the law created that problem. And we have a lot of laws like that. A lot of laws that put police in fast and out of place positions. Instead of just literally protecting and serving me, you're minding my everyday business and trying to extract money from me. If in Trinidad and Tobago, I am by and large a law-abiding citizen. I interact I'm going to live till 80. In my 80 years alive, I may interact 60 times with the police. And 55 of the 60 times was for them to take money from me to give to a government that spends the money wastefully. 55 of the 60 times. 5 of the other 60 times, they were trying to protect and serve me in some way. What is my experience with the police service going to be like? How am I going to view the police service? Wouldn't I view them like Robin Hood viewed the sheriff's men? Because the point I regularly like to make, when the police talk about doing their jobs with some of those ridiculous fee collection duties, you're doing the job of the bad guys in Robin Hood. That's what Robin Hood was fighting when you see Robin Hood sending the arrow through men's heart. Was police who collecting money for the king. Unjustly. Those same people now to trust you enough to tell you all the information they know that could lead to their death. You're understanding how illogical it all sounds? All right, people. It was nice. My battery close to dying. I'm glad it didn't die and cut off before I could see laters. It was nice. We're going to be here again, don't worry. The live start back. I've missed about 3 weeks or so. 4 weeks maybe. Missed a while. But we're here. Of course, Krimak, always a pleasure to have you, eh? Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have all of you. It makes it interesting. Any closing word from Trini Hotep or Bridge there?
Is you like to imitate tree is soul imitating this music thing in the 80s. City had a serious crime, and I think she's trying to out. She's trying to out offense as it's currently taken.
Correct.
Anyone so see all that you see that song is thing on it. Sing that song. So again, state of truth. See our so we do till is far and then decide to rush now to try and tell people if you could do it. Copy things, bring tree, try to 50%. If you kind of isn't committed, people same zombie respect for said this same this small society to some yeah. Yeah, I can get a few thousand bring so we could deal with issues.
Correct. I agree with that. I agree with the three strikes law, especially in a country like Trinidad and Tobago. I think it will have
Small place, everybody
and
together. Shut up next year that statistics don't solve problem. It's 5%, 6%, 10%, 8% doesn't solve.
correct. All right, Hotep, you have anything to say, bro?
Be mindful,
Not
not
mindless.
mindless. The mindlessness is 2024 start and the mindlessness done 200%. Be more. This is something, man. Love to see what the police can do in terms of policing and for the 2020. I mean that is horrible statement of 5%. She almost sound like it's crazy. So see, I was down from 600 previously. 5% is not something to terms of anything.
Especially when you had a record-breaking year preview.
Yeah, so yeah. So see what you think.
Yeah, man. All right. Cola Babs over on Instagram said her closing words that the police too wicked. Mind you, the boyfriend is a police. If that isn't Trinidad encapsulated right there, the police too wicked, says the one who like servicemen. Careful with them service. Anyway, let me not even make that statement going. Come back and all with a serviceman in the latest year. You can't put 8,000 officers in a corrupt TTP system. All right, people. Thank you guys for tuning in. As usual, this was the Mindful Live. I am your host, Nathan Springer. I hope you're educated, informed, or entertained, and I'll be here again for the next live tomorrow evening. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Yes, tomorrow, Wednesday evening, I'll be here for the next Mindful Live around that 9:30 p.m. time tomorrow. So if you're interested, jump in then. We do it again. It's nice. Laters, people, hold it on. Bye.